Today, I woke up and got a nice little Discord message from one of my fellow members in the Alliance, and they asked me basically some simple questions. Could you give me some advice on what I'm doing wrong with my formations? And I said, why not? And let's kind of make a video out of it, because I can imagine many of you have the same style of questions. So why not just kind of give you guys a good little heads up and see if this is something you want to see more in the future. So let's dive into how I can help you with your formations. Right, so let's dive in and help this fellow viewer and obviously part of the Alliance on his formations and why he feels like he's lacking behind, especially on the damage, and maybe how viable his formations are actually going on the open field. So the first one we've got here is obviously the very first match. It's going to be Leonidas, Joan of Arc, and Barbarossa. Pretty good match to start off with. I'm not gonna put you down, because I honestly do really like Joan of Arc. She's a pretty good hero, especially if you're just using her as a supplementary hero until you get a better one in the future. The next match you've got on the second lineup is Miyamoto with Hammurabi and King Derek. So this is going to be really interesting. I am going to talk about this in a moment. The third one we've got Richard I, Julius Caesar, and Darius the Great. So again, pretty interesting choices. I'm going to be honest with you, I don't like this formation, and I can already see a way we can improve already our marches over time, right? So then the next one, the fourth march, this appears to be his cavalry lineup, and again running double marshal with a tactician in the background. So we've got the Yi Sung-ge and Bushra with Cleopatra. Normally, if you're going to do this, I would suggest you're going to be using something like Seong the Great and then someone else instead of Bushra, but you can change Seong the Great for Bushra. I think that third slot supportive role is going to be up to your choice, but we're going to talk a little bit more about that in a second. And then the final one we've got here is Josephine, Wai Sun Shin, and Dio-chan, right? So they're the 5 marches he's currently running on his account. And if you want to look at this little extra image, this is just showcasing some of the legendary heroes as well that he has access to below. So we don't have too many choices, but he does have, I was hoping to see that Seong, right? He has Seong the Great there, quite happily. So he could technically, if he really wanted to make a cavalry march, he could run that straight away and have that triple bonus already. And people do run Wai Sun-ge with the Seong as well, the Great. So really good kind of little lineups we've got. So let's bring it back to the beginning, right? So what would I do with this formation? So what I'm going to say straight away before we dive into what I would change on your formations is one tip and trick you guys need to be doing, because I can see already in this account, they're not following the same procedure that a lot of players are doing, which is focus on one march, possibly 2 marches tops. Do not try and do what we've got here, where we've got a first march, a second march, a third march, a fourth march, and a 5th march. I know you really want to work on potentially all these different heroes, but you got to understand when it comes back to your main lineups here, you've got to work on 3 commanders, which is the star rating, obviously the gear, which needs leveling up and star rating 2, and then the signet rings and your skills. And that's a lot of work to put into 1 march, and then you're going to have to do it to a second. So what I would already recommend straight away is focus on 2 marches alone. If you do that, it's going to honestly help your march progress in power and honestly get ready for any open field, especially if you get any upgrades in Season 2. So what we're talking about is, if we go to the very first march, we've got a Leonidas, Joan of Arc, and Barbarossa march. Really fantastic march here, to be honest, all about counterattack damage. What you could do instead, though, is replace that Joan of Arc that you've got there, right? You could easily replace Joan of Arc with the Richard I. And you're probably wondering, why am I saying that? Why should I do that as a, warrior pikeman player on the game, right? Well, first things first, if you jump into the full game, you're going to see Richard here is honestly a phenomenal pikeman. His actual main skill, each time your troop is hit by a normal attack, it grants 1 mark of the Lionheart. This is up to 2 stacks per second, and after reaching 16 stacks, you deal an instance of damage. This is exactly what pikemen do. They want to be surrounded by multiple people, which they always are, hopefully, and then you get to deal a really amazing, nice burst of damage now to the target. As well, this increases Richard I's might by 1 point for every time your troop loses 1% units. So with the Leonidas now, so if we jump out of our main Richard I and look at Leonidas, they have a very good skill synergy, especially when you look at how these guys work. This is, again, when hit by a normal attack, obviously 20% chance to deal might damage on the enemy, which we all have seen all these guys do. However, like Richard, Leo says when your troops units fall before 50%, so as soon as you're below 50%, you're increasing your damage dealt by 3.2%, and you're increasing your troops against tribes, which is kind of PvE skill, but it's more of the below 50%, you're reducing you're increasing the damage dealt you are doing, right? And with Richard and Leo, that combination is amazing together. And then you've got Barbarossa in the back, which is honestly an amazing hero that just reduces damage you take and gives you a really good recovery rate as well. So you can see already how Richard I would be a better, obviously, choice for your march. For me, it isn't as good because I only have a 1-star Barbarossa, while you have a 3-star Barbarossa. As well as your Richard I, if we come back into the Discord image, your Richard I is only 1 pip away from that 3 stars. And I honestly think that 3-star is going to change your game drastically. So I would instantly put Richard I, as we've got here, in this lineup. And what I would personally do is ignore Julius Caesar and Darius the Great. Some people might not like me saying that, but personally, I really dislike Julius Caesar. I don't think he's a really interesting hero at all. As well as Darius the Great, he's only good personally for gathering. If you're going to use him for that second skill and level up the gathering bonus, go for it. But personally, I just don't like this hero in the pikeman or the cavalry slot. I do think there's just way better alternatives that you could be picking. So these 2 heroes I would abandon, and with your 3rd formation slot, you could actually just rock a gathering march, right? Run a dedicated gathering march, which you could happily do because you have access to Cleopatra and a Dio-chan, right? So you could run a Dio-chan Cleopatra with an epic hero. You could run Wise Son Shin with another archer like King Derek and actually have another double legendary and epic gathering march, right? So you could have these gathering marches out there, which are giving you higher returns in resources per hour, which is obviously speeding up your now training, your healing, as well as your technology and city development. So it's really important to honestly balance out in the early game your war marches to your gathering and progression marches, right? So now, what should we do about the second march? So the thing is, the second march is a really interesting one, because the thing is, I actually really do like this march, and I do believe fellow content creator Sagame really does like this march too. You've got Miyamoto, Hammurabi, and King Derek. This is a super free-to-play friendly choice. However, the one crux in this whole build, which I do believe you're going to be struggling on, is the fact that, just like myself, and you're not the only one, I promise you, you're not the only one, you have not leveled up that King Derek enough. And I do hope, obviously, another Giants Raw event does come around eventually, but for now, because you do not have that King Derek at 3 stars, or at least 5 stars, which a lot of players have been able to do in that event, it's actually putting this infantry lineup at a big disadvantage. You're going to be losing out on quite a lot. And if we look at the actual King Derek himself, so we can understand why, your first one is increasing the activation chance, which is nice. The third one already is increasing the rate of the enemy troops' might damage taken increase. So basically, the more route effects you're putting onto them, which your Hammurabi does, at 3 star, this is increasing as well the extra damage taken effect by 5%. So you can see how this is really important for Derek. And then going into the 5 one, when the Grace Blessings is activated, you increase all your heroes might damage. So this is where Derek really does shine, and if you don't have him 3-starred or even 5-starred, you're going to feel a massive loss, because what King Derek is actually doing there for your March, he's actually boosting up the Hammurabi's route damage. He's also boosting up your Miyamoto's insane damage output, and that's why you needed that 5-star King Derek or a 3-star King Derek at least to get this kind of formation rolling, right? And that's my opinion on it again when it comes to Miyamoto, Hammurabi, and King Derek. This is probably why you might be feeling like it's not performing as well as you've seen in videos or just on other people's open field experiences, right? So what I would recommend personally is replace your King Derek with potentially Josephine. Josephine is honestly a fine hero that you're going to be able to put in there. And to be honest, she is a really good infantry hero, as well as an archer warrior hero that you can technically dual spec for your account and use a lot more freely. So personally, I would recommend using your Josephine. If we go and check out your Josephine, she is 2 stars and she's coming up to the 3 stars. So you're still working on her. But for hero to hero, standing by side, right, I would say a Josephine is stronger and a lot more flexible on choice on what you want to do compared to that King Derek. But if you want to keep the full route combo, which is the Hammurabi and King Derek route combo, I'm not going to say no, that is perfectly fine. I just want to explain why this might not be working as well for you as you can imagine. So hopefully you've understood in this video a little bit now, a bit of thought process, right, on formation building and why certain stars really do matter on marches. And hopefully the viewer that sent through these images on Discord and asked for help, I've been able to help you guys out, right, and explain how I would obviously fix your pikeman march, fix your infantry march potentially, and then set up basically 3 gathering marches for your account. That's going to allow you to honestly knuckle down, level up on those heroes that you need, right, on those main 2 marches, and then you're going to absolutely slaughter people in the open field. Once you've done that, you can now move to your 3rd march and your 4th march, and by the time you get to that stage, you'll have more heroes available. You're going to have more stuff available, and you'll have progressed further in the game. It's actually a bit easier to actually get to where you currently are with a new march, right? So just remember that when it comes to Age of Empires Mobile. So that's today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I do apologize for earlier. I did post this video, but for some reason the audio just randomly just stopped working, which is, again, really, really weird. But it is what it is. But thank you for straight away you guys in the comment pointing it out, told me instantly, and I got it fixed for you. If you guys want to participate in this, you want to send me images on your formations, what I would recommend, and maybe even if it's just to do with rings or even skills specifically, or how a specific march like a, you know, a Attila march, for example, works, let me know and I'm going to do that. If you want this to be a brand new series as well on the channel, where we do a weekly upload where I go through your guys' formations, put a comment down below, and if you really enjoy it, I'm going to make it a special area on the brand new Discord server that I've been making behind closed doors for you all. So with that, guys, special like, comment, and subscribe. Until the next one, stay safe, stay sneaky, guys. Peace out.